Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today's video will have a different format as usual and I would like to discuss a few topics in this kind of format. So today we're going to have a look at why the Philippines is no longer considered the top favorite destination for retirees. Let's have a look at that. Okay, there are several factors that may explain why the Philippines no longer consider the top favorite destination for retirees. I'm going to have a look at that. We're starting with economic and political stability. Uncertainty in the economic or political landscape can affect retirees' confidence and long-term planning, prompting retirees to consider other destinations with perceived more stability. Foreigners generally have varying level of concern about the Philippine economy and political stability, influenced by factors such as global economic condition, regional stability, and specific events within the country. And all of us know very well that we had issue with a neighbor, and I think this country has managed to work the right path to improve this issue, right? Now, going back to economic concern, this is more for foreigner investor, not really for people like myself and most of you just here to retire, I guess. But obviously, you investors need to look at those. You need to monitor the country GDP growth, inflation rates, and fiscal policies. If you want to retire here and do business, obviously. The Philippines has a young, growing population and a developing economy. The growth been 6% last year, I think. Let me know if you know the exact numbers, which can be attractive for investment, but also pose risk related to infrastructure and social services. And you know what I mean, probably. Most of you know what I mean. Economic stability is crucial for maintaining investors' confidence and for the country overall growth prospect. Look at the political concern. I'm not into doing politics of the Philippines. That's not my cup of tea, and I don't intend to do that. All I can say is that political stability is important for foreign national living or invest in the Philippines, for sure. Periods of political unrest or government changes can influence foreign sentiment. And it's not only for business, but also for retirement. Issues such as governance, rule of law, and regional security also play a role in shaping concern. Overall, foreigners typically pay attention to how these factors impact safety, investment potential, and living condition. Most are concerned about stability, but levels vary depending on the interest, whether you are an investor, an expatriate, or just a tourist. One of the main concerns, I guess, on safety is that there's been a lot of story being told about foreigner being hardly done by partners and sent to jail. And so this is the kind of thing that will impact foreigners to come to the Philippines. as a YouTuber, receive a lot of email, a lot of correspondence, and a lot of people said, "Stuff it! I'm not going to the Philippines anymore." After what happened to me, after what happened to many people who went to jail, I was lucky. I was clear. All the accusations were dismissed because they were false allegations anyway from day one. And a lot of people are concerned about those things. But anyway, that's another story. Infrastructure and healthcare, that's the main important thing, especially healthcare is number one issue. What the Philippines has made improvement, a lot of improvement. Some territories may find healthcare facilities, infrastructure, and accessibility less developed compared to other popular tourist destinations, like maybe Thailand, for instance. Lately, I've done field health. I've gone for a minor surgery. You're probably aware of that. And I was very, very happy the way things went. For whatever reason, field health and hospital discount and whatever, a lot of things that we've done with my assistant that came to me that day, and thank you for that again. My bills of over 7,000 pesos. I think the video said 4,300, but 7,000. I only have to pay just under 1,000 pesos. And I know some people say, well, my wife went for a gallbladder surgery and it was 300,000 pesos. They only got 30,000 pesos back from field health. So I guess this depends what kind of surgery you will go to a hospital for, and field health will probably do different type of protection, of cover, I guess. And 300,000, that's a lot of money. So, but to be covered only 30,000 peso, I think that's not good at all. I think something may have gone wrong, whether this person is a Filipino and was only on the lower scale, something does, something like that, because it can't be just to be reimbursed 10%. It's pretty poor. It's pretty poor. But anyway, a lot of hospital, and I've been to doctors and hospital, and I've been impressed in some cases. I know public hospital is a long queue. That is the problem I found, and also a lot of error. We have to go back and forwards because that was not filled properly, that was not done properly, and so those things, there's room for improvement in those areas. But other than that, I was very, very happy with my small surgery, definitely. Okay, let's have a look at transportation in the Philippines. Road and highways. Many major cities suffer from traffic congestion. We all know that. And pollution. And state of the roads are often criticized, despite ongoing road development and repairs all over the country. And with very few expressways. We don't have many expressways, but there's a few on the way, and this is good. This is encouraging. Roads. There's a lot of issue with the roads, but I found that, like Mindanao, I thought the north part of Mindanao got very nice roads in most cases, but it all depends the area. But a lot of works need to be done on roads. Rail system, there's practically no rail system, non-existent, mainly due to the landscape perhaps and the cost of building a rail system. Metro Manila's got the MRT, LRT lines. For those who live in Manila know that, and maybe you use that. And I've been told that though they are often overcrowded and need modernization. Let me know what you think. If you live in Manila and you use it, I'd like to know. All of us would like to know. Ninoy Aquino International Airport, which have been there many, many times. is the main international gateway, but it's often criticized for congestion and appears to have some difficulties moving passengers out of the airport to the final destination. Now, Sydney's got train going from the airport to many important hubs and suburb, and that's make things very, very easy to clear the airport. Unfortunately, in Manila, it's still a bit of a nightmare. But however, I found the easiest way. Take note of that. I found the easiest way, safer and cheaper perhaps, is to use the Grab pickup point at ground level of Terminal 3 near the exit gate number 7, I think. And by using them, that will save you money and it's so much easier. You just go there, you book your car, and then you go downstairs and you wait for them in the right bay number. It's very easy, it's very convenient, it's very good. You should do that. Avoid all the taxis that they all try to rip you off, I'm afraid. Not all, but there's a few bad elements. I know the government's trying to fight that, but they still try to rip you off. And they try with me, but didn't work. I threatened them to call the police. That's what you should do if they try to rip you off. Also, as an archipelago, maritime transport is crucial. Yeah. Major ports include Manila. We got Manila, Cebu, Batangas, and Davao. Most ports are serviced by ferries, being a very cheap mode of transport between islands and great option to expensive airline tickets. And that's something the government needs to do something about. Airline tickets are horrible. If I want, especially from Dipolog, I don't know why it's so expensive. If I do the same trip, say from Osamis, some distance, it will be much cheaper than from Dipolog. Why? I want to, as most of you know, I went to Dipolog a few times, and I took the ferry. It was fantastic, not a problem. Even though the sea was rough, but I didn't feel anything. The only thing I don't like is that the tourist cabin is freezing. But otherwise, it's nice. It's nice, and I slept well. Anyway, energy and utilities now. The country started relying on imported fuel through renewable energy, solar, wind, hydro, geothermal is growing, but very slowly. Power costs remain among the highest in Southeast Asia, but I still believe it's not that expensive. I mean, you need to be reasonable when you use your electric stuff. Some people use aircon all day in every room. You will have a big bill, of course. I use aircon here from time to time in my apartment. So my electricity bill is about 2,000 peso. That's it. But you need to be careful. If you go out, just switch everything off. Yeah. And you'll be right. Unfortunately, the province in general are hit with power brownout, blackout, due to failure or issue, but mainly on frequent maintenance schedule. Every time they have to do maintenance, connect the house or something like that, they have to shut the power off, and that's not a good option. So most people that can afford has a power generator at home, whilst a reliable and efficient full solar power system are rather very, very expensive still. So unless you got a lot of money, I think a power generator is the way to go. And if you remember my videos on the house I built, I connected a power generator straight to the house, straight to the main electric board, and it's working well. Now, internet, digital infrastructure, internet. Internet access has expanded, but still lags in speed and reliability, even in cities, compared to neighbor countries. In the province, signals are usually very poor, and Starlink is being installed only by those who can afford it. For instance, 2025, Starlink residential plan in the Philippines cost 3,800 per month. Last year, until end of last year, I used to pay 2,700 pesos per month. With the ROM unlimited plan, is priced at 5,700 pesos per month. But we got now a new 50 gigabyte ROM plan is available for 3,000 pesos monthly. That's not too bad. Maybe that's something to consider when I reconnect Starlink, if I ever do that. The hardware costs remain the same, with a standard kit at 28,000 pesos, and the mini kit is 33,500. There's no point to have a mini kit. Just get the normal kit, 5,000 peso less. This price become effective in May 2025. Fiber brand and 5G expansion are ongoing. I got PLDT here. I had a few issues with it, but it's not really as fast as Starlink. Definitely not. I can feel that. I can see that. But it does the job, especially when I do my live stream. It's not too bad, but it's not perfect. Anyway, cost of living. That's an interesting point too. Cost of living, especially in popular area, may have increased, making it less attractive compared to other countries with similar or better amenity at a lower cost. Okay, well, pensions got very small increase. The Philippines is getting dearer, and the visitor expat are losing buying power every year. And that's important, what's happening. It's important. And unfortunately, we are hit with visa cost increase, and not by a little, but quite a fair bit. And I'm sure this is hurting a lot of people. In addition, higher inflation rates were observed in the following commodity groups during the month. I just collect this information from the internet. Furnishing, for instance. So if you want to move into a new house or you want to buy new furniture, everything went up by 2.5% roughly. That's a fair bit of increase, especially if your pension only went up by 1.5% or 2% only. And the pension, I don't know, in the USA and other country, but the pension in Australia hasn't gone up much. So we're losing buying power every year, every 6 months or so. Health went 2.9% up, and that's a fair bit. That's quite a big number. I understand doctors are not expensive. You know, I pay 250 peso here to see my local doctor. Okay, now for a foreigner, it's not expensive, but for a Filipino, it may be expensive. But what went up is the hospital cost and medication. Yeah. Also, information communication, like internet, etc., has gone up, and personal care. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but it went up by 2.5%. But on the contrary, there's other things that come down, such as clothing and footwears are cheaper. They only went up by a very small percentage. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels only went still 2.1%. Recreation, sport, and culture 2.1% as well. And education services went up a fair bit, but not as much as last year. So I don't know if you're studying or if you have some kids studying. Last year was more dear. Well, last year we had a bigger price hike compared to this year, which is encouraging. Now let's go to safety and security. And we're talking about crime rates, natural disaster, and that influenced retirees definitely. I'm sure a lot of you are scared by, earthquake, uh, tsunami, uh, typhoon, definitely, and there's a lot of typhoon. Um, Cebu, for instance, I'm here now at the moment, and we had not a typhoon, but sort of a tropical storm came around, and everything was flooded. I mean, there's a lot of water on the road. Amazing. But that's probably part of the infrastructure. That's not only the typhoon fault. I think those roads may not be drained properly for some reason. But I can't comment on that because I don't have any figures or anything black and white. But that's my feeling to me, and maybe some of you or a lot of you perhaps. The biggest threat could be a neighbor or partner. With the current law, a Filipino could throw you in jail with false allegation. And that's something the government really need to look at. Not all expats are saints. I mean, there are some bad ones, for sure. Not all Filipino are cruel. There's a lot of good ones, but we could see more and more negative response or intent to live in the Philippines after many horrible stories were broadcast based on foreigner misfortunes. And that's really very unfortunate. I think the government need to look at that. I'm not saying they have to protect the foreigners especially, but there's got to be some kind of fairness here because, just because you argue with your girlfriend and you go to jail for that, it's a bit hard. It's not fair. But we need to follow the local law. I mean, that's the law, guys. So don't argue with the girlfriend. Simple. Just avoid that. Visa and residency policies. There's a lot of a change in visa requirement almost every year or something. Residency laws, bureaucratic hurdles, and cost hikes can make it difficult for retirees to settle comfortably in the Philippines or even planning to. Also, there are still a few dark areas on some visas, such as 13A visa as an experience, where in case of legal separation, the foreigner spouse, legitimate father of a Filipino child, is at best thrown back to a tourist visa and is expected to maintain his child or children responsibilities and financial support, and that's totally unfair. I even know cases where people be writing to me and say, Joe, same happened to me. I'm now on tourist visa and I left. I'm now in England. My wife, my kid. I can't feed them. I can't be on a tourist visa and feed them. They did that to me, or she did that to me. Bad luck. So, there are cases where foreigners just give up and they run away. And then the support for the child is gone. But sometimes it's not maybe just a matter of love. It's a matter maybe the person can't afford. Tourist visa are now getting expensive, very expensive. 4,000 for two months. That's a lot of money. Unfortunately, a lot of Filipino believes that foreigners are rich. No, that's not the case. It's a wrong stereotype. It's a wrong idea. There's competition from other countries now. There's Cambodia, Vietnam. So also maybe nations like Mexico, Costa Rica, a little bit more unstable perhaps. Portugal, Malaysia, a bit expensive. Increasing popularity due to favorable policies, better healthcare, or more attractive climates, whatever it is, drawing retirees away from the Philippines. Reputation and media perceptions. Negative media coverage or recent events might influence perception about the country as retirees' destination. it is true that sometimes this is not done on purpose. It's what it is. The main media won't probably report much on those things, but there's so much digital media now that everything can be hidden. Overall, while the Philippines remain a popular choice for many due to its warm climate, beautiful girls, English-speaking population, and affordable cost, these factors discussed above could contribute to its reduced ranking in retiree preferences as those things changes for the worse. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you think. Let me know, and it's good to have some feedback on that. I think it's an important subject, and I hope sincerely the government can do something. The Philippines government can do something towards some of the issue I've been talking about, and make it more attractive. That's all I pray for. But regardless, guys, Philippines, it's a beautiful country with beautiful people, and I'm very happy to be here. God bless you all.